So people are now asking me kind of where do I see myself stand in terms of my own brand compared to like Gary Vee, Tai Lopez, Grant Cardone, etc. Remember on the content and brand hacking, I created a chart that says you have to understand where you stand comparatively in context to everybody. So this is the way I look at the market. I see two type of spectrums in terms of marketers. I see the motivational, get you to go push entrepreneurs. Honestly, the motivational space is overplayed out and overcrowded. There's people already killing it, and there's always new players coming into space. It's been overdone. But really, though, why is everybody sounding like Gary Vaynerchuk? Everybody's talking about hustle, grind, self-awareness, providing value and content. They're saying the same shit. Don't get me wrong, I really love Gary Vaynerchuk. He's my #1 guy. He got me here on Snapchat. Made me care about branding. But the issue is that everybody is copying him and sounding elementary. And I think motivation and hype has its place, but it also assumes that you don't have momentum, that you are not hustling, and that you need that push. For the club where I'm at and where my friends are at and my network is that we're already hustling. Hustling is a habit. We don't need to remind ourselves. Now it's trying to get execution and getting technical about it. What sometimes ends up happening is you just get stuck in an endless loop of dopamine where you're just watching these motivational videos and they're just rapid firing you and getting you hyped up, and that's it. Then you have the other end of the spectrum like Neil Patel or Sean Ellis, who invented growth hacking. They're very technical and they drop a ton of knowledge bombs and heavy long content. And they're great for SEO, they're great for building email lists, but they lack the brand equity of Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk. Less EQ. The reason being is that most people aren't technical and most people aren't marketers. That's the fact. I know that as well. And so dropping heavy content hits a very niche audience. And so for me, I've always started on the technical side. That's where I grew up. But then the moment I discovered Gary Vaynerchuk, he motivated me to care about people and branding more. And so for me in the spectrum, I am starting here and then moving this way. I know that if I want to hit a more broad audience, I have to explain the technical and break it down to the math. For Gary Vaynerchuk, I wouldn't say he's on the full motivational side because he does talk about tactics and strategies. I'd put him kind of going this way on the scale. But for me, though, the reason why I'm choosing to be right here is that I feel that there isn't anybody playing in that space that is kind of bridging the gap between technical. And so what I have to do is I have to study both sides of the spectrums, figure out the qualities of what and how people are playing in those spaces, and then figure out the best qualities of each, and then bridge. No, I'm not there yet. I mean, branding and talking to camera and all this is still brand new to me, but it's a work in progress. I understand who the players are in the market and figure out where I want to. And my point to you is that you're trying to build your own brand, understand the players in your space, where you lie. It's okay if you share the same space with somebody else. That if you are in a shared space, you have to find unique value propositions that help separate you from the crowd, or if the market's big enough, then you can just copy, which people are. For me, I'm playing the outlier method where I found and assessed the market, I found an opening where nobody else is really touching into, and I'm leaning into that position. And also, again, by design, me picking that position that is an outlier, that is something that hasn't been really done before, is by design. It gives me competitive advantage because there's not a lot of people that can. Competitive advantage in that there's not very easy to copy. I mean, I'm hitting right in the middle of the spectrum that bridges the gap between technical and marketing, and most people aren't really. This comes down to self-awareness. I'm self-aware that in order to be technical, you have to have high IQ. To become motivational, high EQ. Most people don't jump between the two, but and I'm essentially playing two different demographics, sophisticated crowd and then the starters, right? And that's always a challenge, but I see that challenge as another unique value proposition. So my job is to take sophisticated topics and then break that down to become more digestible, but then scale back up again with some bigger topics to then please the bigger crowd. And then one just note about content. I feel that everybody else is just hitting on surface level. Everybody's saying the same thing: hustle, grind, self-awareness, value, Snapchat hacks. So I identify that as part of my content strategy. My unique value prop is that people are hitting shallow. They're talking about what. I go what, how, and why, the thought process. Because then even though I'm saying what, and that's the same thing everybody else is saying, then I go how. Not everybody can copy that, it becomes more technical. Then I talk about why. That takes knowledge and experience. So this kind of content brand hacking and strategy is not something that I could have done 8 years ago. This is me, a culmination of building up skill sets over time. And remember from the book, Be So Good They Can't Ignore You, it's about building career capital, and that will instill confidence, which I do have, then I'm coming back out into the market. So if you're talking to me 8 years ago, or even 4 years ago, or even 2 years ago, I would not be able to pick the position which I am intentionally. And it's because of the skill sets that helps me get to the position that I want to be in. Anyways, I'll just end there, end my little rant there. Again, hit me up if any questions, comments, feedback, whatever. Let me know how you're working your brand, how I can help out in any way. So this new Snapchat update with floating text, so cool. I've been waiting for this for the longest time, been asking for it, and it's finally here.